Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Let's go ahead and make ourselves a little beginner's fragrance collection today. 10 different fragrances, 5 that are going to be a little bit better for spring and summertime, 5 that are going to be a little better for fall and wintertime, that if you would have a collection that's just locked in. You'd have something for pretty much everything. I'll have these linked down below. Feel free to check them out down there. And if you would like some codes to some different websites, go ahead and pause the video right now and save yourself some money. Code time is over. Video time, list time is now. All right, let's kick things off with this guy right here. It is Explorer from Montblanc. And I did try to keep in mind pricing. So a couple of these fragrances are newer, and so they're gonna be a little more expensive, but I tried to, for the most part, include fragrances that aren't too expensive. And the whole thought process there is that if you're kicking off a collection or you're trying to add things to your collection and you don't want to spend too much money, obviously it's easier to pick up fragrances like this that are not going to cost that much, assuming you pick it up from discounters. Because sure, it would be easy to say, hey man, you got to get this fragrance, it'll set you apart. Oh, by the way, it's also $350 and give 10 of those. But realistically, how many people out there are going to be spending that much money if they're trying to kick off their collection, kick it off for the first time? Probably not too many people. So I'm trying to keep it, for the most part, affordable. So Explorer, it smells a little bit similar to this fragrance you may have heard of before called Creed Invictus, which has, I'm pretty sure, along with Baccarat Rouge 540, the highest number of clone fragrances or similar fragrances to it out there on the market today. And this is one of them. It's going to give you Invictus vibes, but it is done with a designer touch. Obviously, it is not quite as smoky as Invictus. Not really smoky at all. It's actually more of a modern woodiness that this one has. Nice and fresh, clean, a little bit sweet, extremely easy to wear, very versatile. Compliment puller, a nice looking presentation as well. There's a lot to like about it. Pick it up for a good price. Explorer is the type of fragrance that you can use pretty much anywhere, anytime. And you could go with like Club de Nuit Intense Man or L'Aventure or one of the other multitude of different Invictus style fragrances out there, but the one that I would probably point most people toward first would be Explorer. Now let's go with one that's more of like an evening type scent. This guy, Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum. Now, Burberry Hero Eau de Toilette and to an extent Eau de Parfum don't get the hugest amount of love in the fragrance community, but in the real world, they're fragrances that sell really well that people love. Burberry Hero Eau de Parfum I personally like more than the Eau de Toilette. I think it's a little bit more interesting. It's got this nice warmth to it, along with that woodiness that's gonna tie it in with the original Eau de Toilette version of the fragrance. So it's another one that's gonna give you a lot of versatility and usability. It is more of a fall and wintertime scent, but you can pull this off during the spring and potentially the summer as well. Just don't spray it on as heavily. One that I think is a little bit overlooked sometimes, but this stuff works really well. People love it, and it's an easy wear. All right, back to warm weather with this VERSACE Pour Homme. This is a great out of the shower fragrance, very clean and fresh, again with just a touch of sweetness, just enough to really help drive it home that whole compliment factor, versatility factor that most people look for when they're starting off a collection. Pretty affordable. It's a wonderful out of the shower kind of scent, a perfect work fragrance. It's a really smooth casual wear or potentially business wear fragrance, depending on how hot it is. It's got some similarities to Chanel Allure Homme Sport and also Missoni Wave. Both of those fragrances also would be great choices. Okay, back to cooler weather we go with this Invictus Victory Elixir. So this is a newer fragrance. This is, I would say, going to be the most expensive of the bunch at this point because probably, at least as of this video, not going to find it at discounters. And if you do manage to find it there, you're going to save, I'd guess, all of 10 bucks or something off the retail price. But as time goes, hopefully it does get a little more affordable. Invictus Victory Elixir, I think, smells awesome. This stuff is killer. It has great performance, it projects, it lasts a long time. It has a really nice sweet touch to it. Vanilla, amber, tonka, a little bit of a smokiness to it. And at the same time, it's got like a touch of a tropical flair. Some people have compared it to the smell of Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum. So kind of like Invictus Victory mixed with Le Beau Le Parfum. Like if you want to Cliff's Notes it, just make it a very simple kind of way of presenting the fragrance, you could say it kind of smells like that. Great for an evening out, big attention grabber. Like I said, the performance is there, so it's going to get you noticed. And I think this is probably my favorite Invictus at this point. It doesn't really smell like the original Invictus fragrances, the first fragrances that came out in the line, but for me, that's actually a good thing. All right, let's go back to a cheap one for spring and summertime. L'Homme Rocus. Really nice blue fragrance, easy to wear, and those type of fragrances when you're starting off, they get a lot of use. You know, blue fragrances are just those jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife type of scents that you can bust out and wear it in any situation and it's gonna work for you. Now, I did not include Bleu de Chanel Sauvage or Y in any of their forms in this list, but realistically, I could have put all three of those in here and it would have made sense. The only reason that I didn't choose one of those three is because I really feel like with those, you should try them out. I mean, really, you should with any fragrance, right? But you should try those out and figure out which one works best for you. Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, Y, which one kind of do you gravitate toward? Like which style? Or maybe you like all of them. Maybe you end up liking none of them. But when it comes to those big three blue fragrances, they're pretty much all right there with each other. Maybe one does something a little better than the other, but none of them are really cheap. If one of them was markedly cheaper than the others, I would probably include that, but that's why I don't have any of the big three in this list. But I do think you should try all three out. Anyway, back to this one. It's cheap. That's why it's easier to recommend this one. You're not gonna be out that much money. It smells a little similar to like Dolce & Gabbana K. It's a little bit in that style. Good amount of juniper in here, so you've got this aromatic touch to it, citrus off the top as well. And it's one that you could wear, again, in more formal situations. You could potentially dress this one up if you needed to. The performance maybe could be a little bit better, but again, it's inexpensive, so who cares? Just spray more of it on. And again, to be fair, not all fragrances need to be unholy projection monsters. I think some people get hung up on that sometimes. You know, everything has to be 12 plus hours of projection or something. And if it doesn't have that, then it's useless. And that's just not true. I can't tell you how many emails and comments I've gotten from people, especially over the past 6 months or so, saying that they were overspraying fragrances really heavily and it was working terribly for them, that people would just actively avoid them because they just had too much on. And that can be a big issue, especially with fragrances that are crazy strong. You spray on too much of this stuff, you think, oh, they're definitely gonna smell me. And they will, but it's not gonna be positive. It's not the same thing, but it's kind of like having a car that has a really nice active exhaust system, right? So it sounds good. Like when you drive by, it just grabs people's attention. That's one thing, right? You've got just the right amount of attention grabbing going on. But then at the same time, you could have somebody who just like ripped the catalytic converter off their car and they straight piped it and put just like trashy exhaust on it. And it sounds horrible, but it's super loud, but it sounds just irritatingly terrible. You're gonna drive by and people are gonna notice it, but it's gonna be a very different reaction. They're gonna be like, what is this trash? Like, what are you doing? This is a big difference. All right, let's go back to more of an evening scent here with Detour Noir from HARAMAIN. Now this is a clone and it's the only true clone in this list. Now you could say Explorer, that smells really similar to Invictus, but that's more like an inspired by fragrance. This is a straight up clone, and it's a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton. It's great bang for your buck, very cheap. Typically this is gonna go right around 20 bucks. Sometimes you can find it for less. And I mean, the presentation does look cheap. I think it's not a nice looking bottle. The writing on the front of mine is actually flaked off a bit. The cap is not great. The atomizer is not great. The look is not great. Just a lot of not greats here. But then the fragrance itself smells really darn good. And we're talking bang for buck wise, this is gonna be your best alternative to Parfums de Marly Layton out there. Gonna get you the same vibe as Layton. It's gonna get you that sweet spiciness, that compliment factor, that appeal. It's a great one for fall and winter, whether you're talking date night or just going out on the town. So Detour Noir, I would point that one out to most beginners first. And if you really like that and you want to get a better version of that, then down the road you could pick up Parfums de Marly Layton. And actually there are other alternatives, other clones to Layton out there as well that are a little pricier than that one that you could start looking into if you really did dig that scent profile Also Lalique white and black. That would be another one to check out. Okay, back to warm weather, light blue, Eau Intense from Dolce & Gabbana. Now, really, I think just about any light blue. This is one of those deals where I think if you have the opportunity, you know, kind of test them all out, try them out, see how they work for you. Because you've got Light Blue Forever, Light Blue Italian Love. Those do their own thing. They're a little more focused on citrus, especially a more realistic citrus off the top. Then you have stuff like Light Blue Sun, and to a lesser extent, Light Blue Italian Zest. Those are also citrus forward. Sun has a little tropical feel to it also, but those are citrus forward, but not in as much of a natural way. They're a little more sweet, and some people actually prefer that style. Personally, I like Light Blue Forever and Light Blue Italian Love more than Sun and Italian Zest. Then you've got the new one, Summer Vibes, which actually is a little bit similar to this one, but you've got a lot of different ways that light blue comes across the entire line. So I would try to, you know, check those out as you can and see which style works best for you. Light Blue Eau Intense, this one by and large is going to be one of the more enjoyed fragrances in the lineup overall. It's got a nice saltiness to it, so it's got a little bit of that sea salt kind of aquatic vibe to it. It's got nice aromatics. It has citrus off the top as well. A little bit of a sort of a woodiness there as it dries down. I do think that overall this is an improvement over the original Light Blue, and between the two I would definitely take this one. But Light Blue in general, they do have some nice pickups in that line that you can find for a decent price. After that one, we're gonna go with this, AZZARO's The Most Wanted Parfum. This one is another fragrance with great performance. Longevity is there, the projection is there, has a great ginger kind of zingy opening, and then a bit of vanilla, or actually a good bit of vanilla as it dries down, and some smoky woods as well. Perfect for fall and winter time. Big compliment puller. One of the best actually compliment pulling fragrances from last year. And I would say when you combine this one with Invictus Victory Elixir, you have a killer 1-2 punch for fall and winter time of modern releases. Those two both will just set you apart and really draw attention. So AZZARO The Most Wanted Parfum, love this one, think it's a great choice. And I do also think it's a little bit more unique than The Most Wanted that came before this one. Not that that one's bad, because it's not, it's really good also. Just this one has a little more unique flair to it. Back into warmer weather we go with this Coach for Men. Really affordable, so another fragrance that from discounters you can pick up without breaking the bank, without spending too much money. And it's another one that's gonna give you some blue fragrance vibes, that versatility, that compliment factor, that grab and go sort of fragrance. Has Nashi pear off the top, which gives it a nice, interesting twist, a little bit of a unique opening. It has been compared to Jimmy Choo Man, but I think that this one is better overall. And outside of that slight similarity to Jimmy Choo Man, it's pretty unique. So with that one and L'Homme Rocus, you've got two fragrances that are not going to cost that much, that are going to get you that usability, that compliment factor. And those two fragrances combined is a great jumping off point to give you blue fragrance or blue style fragrances without costing all that much. Last fragrance is going to be one that I'm lumping in with the cool weather fragrances, so fall and winter time, but it's not really just a fall and winter time fragrance. It's honestly more of a year-round fragrance. I think that summer is the month it's least suited for, but you can still wear it during the summer. It's a big, huge compliment puller. From one of the most popular best-selling fragrance lines in the United States, it's Versace Eros Eau de Parfum. This one is the sweet spot in the lineup. It's a little bit more grown up than the Eau de Toilette, but then a little more playful than the Parfum. So it kind of slots there right in the middle, as you would expect. Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Parfum, right? Not really rocket science or anything. It has that performance that Versace Eros is well known for, so good longevity, good projection, a big compliment factor. When Eros first came out, the Eau de Toilette, it was known as a clubbing fragrance. That was really kind of the selling point. People would say, oh, it's great for clubbing. But as time has gone on, people have realized it's much more versatile than that. It's the type of scent you can wear daytime, nighttime, or both, you know, a transitional fragrance from day into night. It works great in the office as well. I know I wore it a bunch to the office, and it does work very well on a date or on a night out or to the club. So it does do that also. It's got mint, apples, citrus, vanilla, woods, and ambroxan in there. Good amount of sweetness, and people do love that. They love sweet fragrances. It's a fragrance that pretty much everybody's gonna like. So Eros Eau de Parfum, I think this one with just that, again, year-round usability. So Eros Eau de Parfum, I'm gonna wrap this up. Again, I think just the total package, everything that it does very well, would make a great addition to somebody's collection that they're just kicking off. So there we go, 10 fragrances that are gonna have you smelling amazing, just an absolute slayer of a starting designer collection, both with some newer fragrances and with some fragrances that came out a few years back. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I will see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.